Today I will be testing out my completely homemade 3D printed model rockets, starting out with the first launch.
3, 2, 1, go! That was not supposed to happen.
So for this launch, the nose cone was not weighted down enough, making it unstable. I changed that for the next launch.
2, 1.
So for this launch, there was a design oversight, to put it simply, that prevented the parachute from coming out correctly.
2, 1.
This launch ended up being very tragic because the rocket broke apart and landed on someone else's roof. I was able to get it down with a beanbag attached to a string, but both SD cards slipped out and I lost the altimeter altogether. When I'm testing my rocket engines, I'm testing for how consistent its thrust is. As you can see, there's a lot of dips in this graph right here. I'm also testing for how quickly it gets up to max thrust. This will determine how fast it will accelerate, and that will determine how stable the rocket is. And I do want to make sure that I'm not making my rocket too heavy for the engine. So why are all my rockets failing? I think this can be boiled down to two things. One, the rocket is not flying straight, and two, the rocket is not ejecting its parachute. The first one can be boiled down to two things: center of mass and center of pressure. The center of mass has to be ahead of the center of pressure for the rocket to fly straight. Basically, when I went from these fins to these fins, I believe it changed the center of pressure to be up a bit, which meant that I would have to weigh down the rocket at the tip a bit to compensate for that, and that made it slightly less aerodynamically stable. The second problem I've already kind of solved, really. So initially what was going on was that the engine, it did not have enough ejection charge in it, but when I added more charge, there was some other factors. Like in this one, I had more charge, or I had doubled it, but because of a design oversight that I later corrected, there was this half an inch gap right here, as you can see. So when the rocket launched, it pushed the engine up, and when the charge went off, it moved the engine back. And that moving the engine back lessened the power of the parachute ejecting charge. So
3, 2, 1. Well, the parachute came out. No damages. Well, the parachute. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.